Hey, it feels good to be here. I want to say from Gauteng to all 9 provinces across the country, ndifuna nditsho ndithi molweni, dumelang, goeiemôre, or goeiemiddag, ndiyakhensa. Sanibonani. Kunjani? Ndiyabulisa kaloku. I want to tell you, you fill me with so much pride. You inspire me. Fellow South Africans, those of you who are joining us online and here today in this historic day, I want to say to every single one of you, I am deeply appreciative, but I want to say it is now time for change. Ixesha ngoku lifikile lixesha lotshintsho. Firstly, ndiyabulela Nobuntu for that kind introduction as the deputy leader of Build One South Africa. I'm grateful to be joined by my wife today. I'm going to talk about the rest of my family in a moment because they're all here. But you see, in 1994, a generation led by admirable leaders like Otatu Nelson Mandela, Archbishop Tutu, and so many others began a journey towards freedom. In fact, Otatu Mandela pronounced these words when he spoke at his inauguration that it is not that we are free, but have merely achieved the freedom to be free. I'm a proud child of Soweto. My parents are here, and they voted in that election in 1994. They voted for leaders whom they thought will deliver on that promise of freedom. My parents, like so many generations who voted in 1994, didn't want the life they lived. They wanted a future for their children and their great-grandchildren. They didn't want to live in a country that divides them on the color of their skins. And whilst I don't want to minimize the achievements that we've made since 1994. In truth, today, you can live where you want, you can marry whom you like, and ultimately, your rights will always be protected by a constitution, and you can worship the God of your choice. But fellow South Africans, that dream and that hope has fast been deferred. For too many people, life is becoming hard. More than half of our citizens are living below the upper poverty line. That promise of freedom is no longer there. That dream is now a nightmare, and many of us are standing here today saying we feel the party that we entrusted in 1994 is no longer the party of Nelson Mandela. It's no longer the party that can be trusted with freedom. And I dare say the legacy and the promise of freedom can only be continued by Build One South Africa, for it was their dream. Barlibetsi, laba bona mos, baetsa di khanen treg, uyabas. Hey marwetsi ritsotsi. Let me just say this. I want to welcome my family. Umamam kaloku lapha, notata mulapha. I want to thank so many friends, my brothers and sisters, dignified guests. I see Graham and so many others. I want to call you out from the stage. I might forget people. I want to thank Ntate Tauli and Ntate Diseko for being here as we work with organizations to build an alliance in South Africa for change. I want to thank members of the media and the press for being here. But more than anything, I want to thank all the provincial leaders, all the activists, but I want to thank you for being here, the people of South Africa. Ke a leboga. Because one day, somebody is going to ask the questions. When they were dividing, when they were asking us to vote for our races, when they were asking us to go back to our cultures, our tribes, who were the ones who were fighting that we can stand together and build one South Africa? History will look at you and say they gathered in Johannesburg to declare again that this nation can only prosper together. Amandla! Every so often, a nation finds a moment to choose its future on the ballot. 2024 is that moment where our future as a country is on the ballot. It's that moment where we've got to say to ourselves, are we going to choose to go back, or are we going to bring change? I don't know about you, but I want change. 2024 is about change. 2024 is that moment of change. And it must be a change that puts a job in every home in this country. I want change in this nation. It's got to be a moment that says, let's give so many an opportunity to earn a living. This election is about a change for jobs. We can argue about many things in this country. And today we launch a jobs plan because it is about jobs. If you don't have a job, your dignity is robbed from you. As my friend Piwe reminded me so kindly. Said we can distribute as many grants as we like, but even the people who are earning grants actually want this plan to succeed because they all want a job. I want to live in a country where, at least in every home, there's an income that is going there. So today is not about just talking. It's about reminding ourselves that perhaps we are the ones we've been waiting for. That we are the generation that will take the struggle for freedom, and a freedom that delivers a job in every home. We are the ones that must take it forward. So I don't forget, I want to thank everyone who's worked to put this launch together. What you don't realize is that a couple of days ago, this was just a parking lot. And it took the effort of many of the people who are professional in our organization. It took the effort of so many activists, so many people going on the ground, the people who work, the people who write our policies, our team in my office who do such an incredible job. I want to say to every single one of you, I thank you. You have been an inspiration to me. Ke a leboga. Modimo a le hlogonolo fatshe. Enkosi. I want, if you wouldn't mind, also acknowledge Tebogo Ntiti, a young person from 140 in Mfuleni, who passed away recently and was a BOSA activist. You see, the struggle today is not just for anybody, it's for South Africans who fight day in, day out. I say, to lelapa la kwa Mokgethi, I send my deep condolences and may his soul rest in peace. Fellow South Africans, the task on our shoulders is a big one. It's a moment in our country where you feel like we need David to take down Goliath. We need to be able to look at the giants in our land, whether those are giants of poverty, unemployment, and begin to say, we need more and more Davids in all our communities to fight to bring change. One of the giants that we face is that in many ways we live in different South Africas. We live in a South Africa where others wake up in the morning and throw away food when others don't even have food. We live in a country where on another day a train will board from Naledi in Soweto and transport citizens who are hungry to places where some are seeking work, and others will board one in Sandton to go to fancy workplaces. These two South Africas sometimes never meet. These two South Africas confine us to our spaces, and we almost feel as though in many ways we live with separate development. But the only bridge that we have between poverty and wealth is a bridge of finding a job, and that bridge can only be crossed by putting a job in every home, and the only people who can do that are Build One South Africa. I want to say our people are great. They hustle day in, day out. They are innovators. I celebrate those who succeed. People like BOSA Kolisi, the business people in our communities. And I want to say to Ronwin Williams, hey, Bafana, Sinjongile, man. You come from a great nation of champions. Let's go and do it. But even with all of that, with all of those successes, they can't be an abnormality. We need to find ourselves in a place where we can say, for us to succeed is the norm and to fail is a surprise. So let's build a country, a nation of winners. You can't do that though with this government. You can't do that with a government that can't keep the lights on, that can't keep you safe, that's not concerned with development. You can't do that when at the end of this month, too many people are still hustling and the money is gone. Those who have a job patiently wait for payday, while 11 million of our fellow South Africans don't have a job, and many of them have lost hope of finding one. We in this country now sit with the highest level of unemployment. Here's what's sad, is that the politicians don't feel this. bone sa bone ke go tsamaya bathi ba tšebilongkane zimali zethu o kile ba bona ha ba tsamaya. They fear nobody. If you disrupt them in traffic, they send their security to beat you up. La ba tseba mos. Ba bang, they go into office and then they leave the office and come back and say, we will fix the things we couldn't fix. And I'm worried, how did they manage to escape such heinous crimes of corruption and state capture? Now is the time that we bring ethical leadership back into government so that we can serve the people. They insult us and they break our nation. Fellow South Africans, they are the ones who cheapen the gains of freedom. They are the ones who are sending us backwards and putting us in separate development. They are the ones who allow this division between South Africans. Last week, negele go Snake Park last week. Gaufi le go Topsy. I met a young man. Mfano wa go Kasiaka. A ke re Kasiaka ke Soweto ena le Topsy. O na le 21. Haspan. O sokotse for mmereko. O na le matric. Ba baya ba ntšhaela gore even if o na le matric or o na le degree, Spanish se zwagala. Abantu abasebenzi. The sad bit is, when you look at his results, you can see gore he passed some subjects ka 30%. Mar enduar tella white. Ke ngwana mang a tshwantsa pass ka 30%. What's painful is that this young guy lives with his grandmother. His grandmother is disabled, and I see so many South Africans here who come from the disabled community. He lives in a community where the clinics don't work. He says to me, the one thing he fears is that even with a little bit of money, when he walks down the street, he's attacked because of criminals. I ask myself the question, for Kolani, where is he going to end up? Where is Kolani going to go? What future is there for him? Is he going to continue and live? And maybe his destiny is a life of crime. I want to say to Kolani and the many Kolanis in this world, if you want a job, BOSA is your home. If you want a safe country, BOSA is your home. If you want a place where your education and the education of so many others can be improved, BOSA is your home. And if you want a future in this nation where all our rights will be protected, BOSA is your home. Let us make this election a time for Abu Kolane and so many others to find a job when we deliver change that brings a job in every home. Amandla! When I speak to Bokolane, even if I have a job, I am pained by so many people who spend 40% of their income in transport, in just trying to find work. I want to say to you, how BOSA can government thing, we are going to roll out a massive public transport system so that those who go to work never have to fight to pay so much for public transport. Let's make it cheaper, let's make it easier for people to find work. I'm convinced that the fastest and the shortest way to build this South Africa is to create more jobs, create more wealth for families, and to share with those in need. This election is about one thing. It's about a job in every home. So I'm asking you to give us a chance to put this plan on the table, to give our activists, our candidates who are working in their communities, a chance to put them this plan to work. This plan isn't just something we dreamt up. We went through thousands of submissions by South Africans in communities. I've been on an international roadshow engaging people about how we can do with top universities. And today, what I deliver to you is a blueprint for us to deliver jobs. And that's why we chose this venue, Go Victoria Yards, here in Joburg, to launch this jobs plan. I shop not far from here. I can't advertise a business, but I buy my jeans from a young entrepreneur called Tsepo around the corner. And I tell you, Tsepo isn't just creating jeans for a few people, he's creating jeans for the international market. And that tells me that the spirit of entrepreneurship is still alive and well in South Africa. Today I'm wearing this shirt. I'm gonna show you. I gotta get to Jimmy. Linchebe. This shirt was designed by a young guy, Lebohang, from Township Connections. So that you can remind yourself, but you know what I love about these shirts? Is that Lebohang doesn't want to just sell these shirts kokasi. He wants them to be worn in Sandton, in Sweden, and New York. You see, these are the kind of entrepreneurs we must get behind and make sure they are innovative, they are delivering work. I love the township economy, but I want a township economy that's not only focused in the township, but a township economy that delivers for our country and for so many others and creates jobs. So our jobs plan today is focused effectively on 4 parts. The first one is growing the economy for jobs. Secondly, it's reforming education for jobs. And thirdly, it's about building a capable state for jobs. And fourthly, it's creating a safe environment for jobs. I've said it to you and I'll say it to you again. This year, we are going to deliver in the next 5 years when we come into government, a government that delivers 2 million jobs in every household in this country. Amandla! You say to me, how do we work it out? We've worked out there are 18 million households averaging 3.3 people per household. So therefore, to put a job in every home at an absolute minimum, we require at least 2 million new jobs. Let me say this to you. I get no buamaka. Wait till it's the manifesto launch. Babu maka bari refeng chance everybody uto bereka. Nakari mpe 5 years. Ore bone gore re tsenya mmereko a batho ba bereke mo matlong. Let's make sure our living wage and standards are going up at least to 6,700 rands per month. Our jobs plan is comprehensive. And I want to highlight just a few things that I want to talk about today. The first one is we live in the continent of Africa, where over 1.2 billion people will be living in this continent. The majority of those are young people who are facing unemployment. So what I'm here to say to you is that if you want an opportunity, and I send this message to all our international markets, I want to say to you, when we fix the politics, South Africa will be open for investment so that we can create opportunities in the continent of Africa, starting here at home, where South Africa will become a gateway to the rest of the continent. Amandla. So the first number of things that we focus on is that we will tackle inequality in our economy. We have to make sure that in tackling inequality, a BOSA-led government must invest in education, ensuring that all schools have all the necessary facilities. Eskom we are repalla. Under BOSA, we are going to introduce SMRs that ensure that we can keep the lights on, fix Eskom, employ the best people there, so that none of us in the next 2 years have to face up to load shedding. Our load shedding is fair. Secondly, we have to invest in communities, to build infrastructure, and to create township economic zones that support entrepreneurs. In as far as empowering of our economy, I've already spoken about Eskom. I want to speak about another one that is failing, which is Transnet. You cannot create jobs until your logistics are fixed, and therefore we are going to create a public-private partnership between Transnet and private entrepreneurs so that we can make sure that goods that are landing on the coastline of Durban can find themselves into our economy so that we can be a logistics-friendly company. Why is it that South Africa can't become the battery center of the world so that at manufacturing level we can build the batteries here and export them to the rest of the world, and then people will say, if you want to become a sustainable economy, South Africa is the pathway to deliver that growth. I heard another fellow South African, Elon Musk, say South Africa is uninvestable. I want to say to Elon, an ANC-led government is uninvestable. But a BOSA-led government will open investment opportunities, and we're going to put a job in every home. If you want a job in every home, BOSA is your home. If you want a future in this country, BOSA is your home, for we are the only ones who can put a job in every home. We are going to lead. The trillions of US dollars that are looking for investment opportunities, they will find them here in South Africa and in Africa. I want to ensure, as all of us work, that we create and establish a collaboration with private sector to ensure that there's business training and mentorship program for entrepreneurs who are in need. Here at home, we are going to incorporate township-based businesses into this value chain. Moreover, we recognize the fact that the importance of a thriving advanced sectors in our economy. We will ensure high standard trade infrastructure, invest in research and development, and support ventures with high employment potential. We will want to collaborate more with the private sector, NGOs, and address the regulatory deficiencies that make it easier to trade. Fellow South Africans, I want to remind you, our commitment extends to ensuring that we deal with disparities of gender and of a racial type in employment. We have to make sure that BOSA improves vocational training, brings graduate skills and digital literacy to ensure that we build and attract diverse industries. In the manufacturing sector, this will become a part of what this economy is built on, ensuring that there are community workshops and factories in townships so that people can build. We're going to ensure that we boost manufacturing in order to create jobs and bridge the gaps in areas like textiles and electrical machinery. We have to transition our economy when many others are fearing that the world of Internet of Things is coming. Rona, we are going to make sure that our young people are trained in computer science and robotics so that they can invest in the economy. We know we are free when more and more of our young people are the ones who set up your networks in companies, in ventures, in businesses, so that more and more of our economy is entering into the fourth and fifth industrial revolution. Fellow South Africans, we must digitize our visa regime. We must make it easier for people to travel in and out of South Africa. I'm going to tell you, under BOSA, if you run an SMME, we will be by your side to give you the best chance to succeed. And to do that, tender entrepreneurs, those tender entrepreneurs, you know them most, who know nothing about business, maribone ba emetse di tender. Ke batla ke ba bolella straight and to bias. When the election date is announced and once we've voted, that day is done, because we are going to bring change in this country that ends corruption, the change that brings jobs, a change that delivers a future, a change that puts a job in every home. Amandla. We're going to establish a jobs and justice fund so that businesses who don't have capital can benefit from this fund. We have to ensure that particularly South Africans who are left behind can participate in our economy. To all the matriculants who are here, BOSA wants to introduce a national vocational service, voluntary national service. It's a year-long program for young people to do internship and also be able to work. This way, we use the capability of sectors like government and various areas so that young people get the required work experience. This service will go into areas like healthcare, basic education, and more seriously, will make sure young people work with our police service. Fellow South Africans, let's ensure that as part of us stimulating the macro elements of the economy and the micro elements of the economy, we can ensure that we put a job in every home. Let me highlight this. We can speak about a possibility of multiple energy companies so that more and more people can find reliable energy at a sustainable price. And we will continue as BOSA to ensure that we build an energy infrastructure that will empower utilities to raise capital and invest in sustainable technology. We have to draw inspiration from the telecommunications industry, because if we don't foster competition, you end up with Eskom telling us when the lights can go on and when the lights can go off. Don't let them fool you by refer holiday from load shedding before the elections. Get it so, see. It's not about voter, load shedding like it's back from holiday. Get it so. So let's build a competitive market and show that, like in the telecommunications business, companies like Vodacom, MTN, and Mellon have shown how we can in fact compete in this place. Fellow South Africans, I want to ask and say this: if we do not skill the economy, our young people will be left behind. And that's why I want to say this: to miseducate our young people is to oppress our young people. And therefore today, I am so grateful that we've got Dr. Mvume here from Central College High. The young people are sitting over there. I wanted to acknowledge them because these young people, the class of 2023, got 100% pass rate. This shows what it's possible. I want all of them to stand up, and I want to give you a big, big round of applause and say, that's the future we want. In other places, people speak about generative AI, ChatGPT, and in other places, our young people cannot read for meaning. So to fix our education, we have to ensure that we give quality teaching from early childhood development all the way to tertiary degrees. I want young people who are able to compete with anyone in the world. And therefore, to achieve this, I'm going to propose a number of things that we've got to do. The first thing is this: under BOSA government, we are going to move the pass mark from 30% to 50%. Especially in subjects like mathematics and physical science. Number two, we want an independent education ombudsman and an inspector general for education to ensure that there's accountability. Thirdly, we want to raise salaries for teachers. I want our teachers to be paid well. I'm tired of teachers who leave the profession because they can't earn enough. I would like for the best maths and science teachers to stay in the profession so that they can teach our young people. We have to, fellow South Africans, reprioritize spending in digital learning so that our young people are participants in robotics and the future. Now here's the important thing. BOSA will make sure every parent gets a 15,000 Rand voucher so that they can choose where their children can go to for schools. And when schools know parents have a voucher, they start to improve what they need to do. Amandla! Forward to quality education, forward! Thirdly, we can't operate with the corrupt ones. We need a capable government, a government that is future-focused, a government that will deliver services and ensure that there's a digital, future-focused government. With this in mind, I would like to make a number of proposals that ensure that those who have been captured, who are involved in state capture, BOSA is sending a strong message to you, for as soon as we get into government, your days in government are finished. You are going to end up in jail because we are tired of the corrupt operating in government. Let's set up courts to make sure the corrupt are in jail. Fellow South Africans, we have to make sure that our cabinet is put together by the most competent people. I say it and I will say it to you again. If you want to be in cabinet of BOSA, best you improve your studying. We want people with degrees in cabinet so that we can esteem people and people will know that education is important for our leaders. We got to ensure that we've got ethical leadership. That's why as BOSA we've been fighting for direct elections of public representatives and the reformation of the electoral law. So that one day it will be possible. Harare BOSA ke mang? You will be able to say, BOSA ke mang? BOSA ke mang? You can't say amandla ngawethu until you are able to vote directly, and one day you'll be able to directly vote for the president so that the president fears you rather than fearing their party. We have to make sure that those who work for government have a permanent review so that monthly we know what's happening in key departments. We have to reform the Public Service Commission so that it guides us, so that we know who are the best people who are needed, so that we can employ those people. When you appoint in government, we can't take a water engineer and make him someone in finance. Just like you can't take someone in finance and make them a water specialist. We must make sure we have the best leaders. Even go ESCOM. Let's get engineers to work in ESCOM. I have said we have to introduce in the office of the president a specialized ethics office so that it will run lifestyle audits but also ensure that prevention is better than the cure of fighting corruption afterwards. Fellow South Africans, this is a moment. I covered the last bit, which is about the fact that murder is making our country uninvestable. It is destroying investments, it is destroying jobs. We have to make sure our people are safe, and we have to make sure our communities are safe. No businesses can run in a place that is dangerous. Crime, from petty theft to brutal violence, have become a reality for so many. Therefore, as BOSA, we want to ensure that we have a comprehensive approach. To tackle issues of corruption, we are going to bring a professionalizing of the South African Police Service. We are going to decentralize police so that they work closer to the ground, and we have to revitalize the criminal justice system. Let me say this. Ha BOSA ikena, international benchmarks say there must be one policeman for every 350 people. Go Dobsonville Snake Park, it's one for every 1,200. We have to recruit and train over 120,000 new police officers, and that's by bringing private security and allowing young people to come and volunteer in our national service, so that we will know we are watching you and we can improve and fix things like the National Prosecuting Authority by funding them and doubling their budget, so that when you do the crime, you will do the time. Lastly, let's forge partnerships with private laboratories for forensic support and create a national electronic forensic database. Fellow South Africans, we have to ensure that we prioritize fighting of crime. We have to ensure and establish a National Criminal Investigation Directorate to pursue and prosecute the top 100 most violent criminals. Our commitment is not just numbers and statistics, it's about building South Africa. As I started earlier on today, I said to you, for South Africa to thrive, Africa must thrive. In approaching our role to the continent and to the world, we must take a multipolar approach. In the words of Kwame Nkrumah, we face neither east nor west, we face forwards. And we want to build a prosperous Africa. And therefore, in this interest, I want to make sure that we take our posture towards those who are outside our own borders. We have to strengthen our visa regulation. We have to ensure that those who come into this country do so legally, and that we can ensure that when it comes to immigration and emigration, we make it easier for skills to enter into countries, and we can make sure that those who are in this country operate under the rules and the laws of this country. And I bring you greetings as I've been speaking to parties all over Africa. I've been saying to them, let us work to ensure that we remove dictators in places like Zimbabwe, so that the border doesn't become a place where the only refuge Zimbabweans are seeking is to come to South Africa. We have to go to Zimbabwe and make sure that those dictators are removed, and we strengthen the rights of people. Let me say this, a BOSA government will fight for human rights everywhere, both here in the Middle East, in all parts of the world. A wrong everywhere must be treated equally, and we must make sure that our trade and our bilaterals, like AGOA, we are sure that we can uphold them and build a South Africa that stands on human rights and on trade. I present to you, fellow South Africans, this jobs plan. If you want a job, then BOSA is your home. If you want a future, then BOSA is your home. If you want an election that delivers change, then you need to register to vote next weekend on the 3rd and 4th of February, so that when it comes to the election date, you can vote for BOSA and say a change that brings jobs, a change that delivers a future. Amandla! I'm going to ask all our leaders to come and stand up here with me, so that we declare together that if you want a future and a chance, BOSA is here for you. Fellow South Africans, 1994, we saw how elections were rigged. I want to declare today that these candidates, these South Africans, are going to be standing together in communities, declaring that we've got to build a South Africa that prospers. Can I ask you for a microphone? Amandla. 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 So to all of you who are here in this place, I present to you a team of candidates who are diverse, who come from all communities, who are standing together and saying, if you want a future in this country, BOSA is your home. If you want a job in this country, BOSA is your home. If you want a life in this country that is safe, BOSA is your home.